Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about, well, it is technically a TV show, but it feels more like a movie, and that's Resident Evil Infinite Darkness. Now, when I first heard of this, I was ecstatic because I love Resident Evil. Even though I've never played the video games, I originally got into it because of the live action movies when they came out. And I like the first 3 live action movies. Everything after that is just pure garbage, especially the 6th one. It's like they couldn't even keep up with their own continuity. And I remember when those movies came out, the first one came out, I went online to research it, but that was before a time when Wikipedia was a thing. And so I was like, oh, okay, Alice must be like Jill Valentine or something like that. But then I found out, oh wait, she's not. When the second movie came out. Then the CGI movies came out, and I really enjoyed those a lot. And that was the first time I ever saw Leon as Kennedy, and I was like, oh, this dude's like so cool and everything. He's like really stone cold. He's like really stealthy. He's like just like a boss, you know what I'm saying? And I think that movie was called Resident Evil Degeneration. And it was just like really, 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 really good. I really loved that movie. Even though a lot of people hated that movie because they didn't I think her name was Angela or something like that. The new character with the huge boobs and everything. They're like, we don't like her and her huge boobs. Like, what is with people hating women all of a sudden? And hating boobs. Like, what's up with that, man? And so, yeah, but I really, really enjoyed that movie. The second one I think was Resident Evil Damnation or something like that. I didn't like that one all that much. I miss Claire. Leon had more of a personality in this one, and it just seemed kind of like odd and weird that he wasn't as stone cold and suave as he was before. All that debonair stuff kind of went away, and I didn't really understand the plot all that much, or like the villains, or even the side characters. So I just really didn't enjoy that movie. But it was my first time seeing Ada Wong, and I'm thinking, oh man, she's a whole lot cooler than the live action one and stuff. Well, actually, the live action one was pretty good too, but I just didn't like those later movies at all. Then there was Resident Evil Vendetta. I really loved the action in that, and I love the realism of the graphics. The plot was weird and didn't really make all that much sense, but it was still an enjoyable movie. So when I heard Netflix was making this show, I was like ecstatic, you know what I'm saying? And they also supposed to make a live action series. Well, yeah, I watched this and I'm just like, man, this was boring. This was so lackluster. There was barely any action. There was nothing but dialogue and boring dialogue at that. Claire and Leon barely interact with each other. They only interact in the first episode for no more than 30 seconds at the most, and then they get reunited again in the last episode. And it's just, even when they are reunited, they barely do anything together. Now, what's really confusing is this isn't even really a TV show, you can call it. It's 4 episodes, and 4 episodes only, and they're only 20 something minutes. That's the length time of an animated movie. So why didn't they just make an animated movie? Why did they call this a TV series? And I just can't wrap around my head just how boring this thing was. It's I just was watching it and I'm just like, God, when is this ever gonna be over? I started playing with my tablet. It was just that boring. Because nothing really happened, to tell you the honest to God truth. In the first episode, you see Leon and he's talking to a bunch of people, and then all of a sudden zombies show up towards the end and they shoot all those. But even that wasn't even all that fun. Now, one thing they do in this show that is very shocking, something I've never heard in none of the Resident Evil movies, not live action or even CGI. They use the phrase zombies in this show. In fact, it's Leon uses it twice. And I'm thinking to myself, since when does Resident Evil ever address the zombies as zombies? They always call them the infected or the dead. So this is really shocking. I have no idea if they do this in the game or not, because I don't play the game, but I've watched all the movies and stuff. Oh yeah, there are these infected rat things that look pretty gnarly. And so like Claire in this, like she's kind of doing like investigative work, kind of like reporting type work, and like you see her do that like in the second and third episode, but it's just lackluster. There's nothing there to keep you intrigued until she is attacked and kidnapped, and then it's kind of like, oh my god, what happened to her, you know? However, in the second and third episode, you really don't learn too much. You get introduced to these new characters, and it's just like, you know, something bad happened in the past, and then one these two characters kind of like betray some people, and then and it's kind of like, okay, well, what is going on? And then you get into like the fourth episode. It's when I got into the fourth episode, I'm just like, well, hold up, this is a retelling of Resident Evil Degeneration, and not only that, but it's done way worse. Now, there are so many similarities between these two, but Degeneration is a whole lot more entertaining. It has better music, it has better action, it has better dialogue, it has better characters, it has a better setup. The plot is like way better, and the in between stuff is even way better than this stinking television show, I guess you could call it. Now, the similarities are something like this. Okay, Claire and Leon barely interact in Degeneration as well, but there is a scene where, okay, it pretty much just like starts off with Claire's at the airport and she's waiting for some people, and then like there's a zombie on the plane, and then there's and all the people on the plane get infected, and it crash lands into the airport. While she's at the airport before it crash lands, there's this shady politician dude, and he's being harassed by this one guy. Claire stops it, but the security guards think she's involved. So as that's about to happen, then you see the plane crash. Then we get into Angela, the big boob girl that nobody seems to like for some bizarre reason. She's a SWAT member. She's with some other SWAT members. They're talking about how they're gonna like get inside, and then they say like a specialist is supposed to help them. And in walks the man himself, Leon S. Kennedy. And so like he tells them, you know, like instead of taking the entire team, he's only going to take those two, and they're going to go in and rescue everybody. So they go in, they're like searching around, it's completely dark and empty, you know, and Leon's saying some like really cool stuff, because this is back when he was like really awesome and had like a really cool voice actor. And so like the one SWAT dude, he's arrogant and just like goes to like rescue people because he heard a noise, and he just starts uploading like on zombies and stuff. And Leon just has to like, you know, smack some sense into him and let him know that, you know, you have to shoot things in the head and you can't act like a fool because you're gonna get people hurt, and that's something he's not gonna allow. So they rescue the people, and Claire and Leon, they reunite, and then so it's like a huge shootout between them and the zombies, and it's like a chase. You know, they're trying to like get out that building in the best way they can. And then once in action was just like amazing. Like it's just some high level Resident Evil type action, you know what I'm saying? So then they get out, and then they just meet this new character. He's like this scientist man that works for this like biotech company, and supposedly he has the cure for the T virus. And so next thing you know, his supply gets blown up, and then they see a man, and then this man is like related to Angela. He's her brother. Claire goes with the scientist dude. Leon goes with Angela, and then you know this is when the plot starts to build up. We start getting some like character development and some like who these people are and stuff like that. Turns out Angela's brother, his family died from like the virus and stuff, and now he wants revenge because he's with this like resistance freedom fighting type place people, and so this is why he's doing what he's doing. So next thing you know, there's a explosion at the scientific lab place, and Claire is injured. Leon eventually shows up with Angela, and then he puts her in the room because he rescues her and stuff, and then he goes looking for Angela's brother. And then like, you know, there's some zombies around, so they start shooting those, and then Angela's brother decides he's going to expose the company by injecting himself, I think, with the tyrant mutagen type thing. And then so like he turns into a giant monster. There's a lot of like gun shooting, there's a lot of people getting chased, thrown around, tossed around, killed. Leon's trying to like save everybody. he's constantly having to run around this entire like lab building as it's trying to sanitize itself, and on the floors are falling because it's about to sanitize itself. And like it's just this like really massive huge fight that is just amazing, and it's like at least over 10 minutes long, and you're just pumped and you're just feeling it, you know what I'm saying? And then like so he kills the monster dude, but then Claire and Leon discovered that the scientist lab dude is the one behind all this crap. It wasn't what's her face's brother. So then he was supposed to sell the virus to somebody overseas and turn into a bioweapon, and then so they stop him. So then Claire and Leon go their separate ways because he wants her to help him fight. She's like, nah, you know, she's retired, stuff like that. And then it ends, and it turns out that politician dude, the shady one, he was killed by these other people who wanted like DNA samples of like the monster dude, and then it ends. Ironically, the Netflix show is very similar to that. It introduces a brand new character, a lady. She has like ties to the guy who wants to expose these people in the virus because her brother died, turned into a zombie, and he wants to expose them, so he turns into a monster. Next thing you know, Leon has to fight the monster dude, and then they're in this like scientific lab type place, and it's trying to sanitize itself. There's a politician, the president, and they don't know if he's shady or not, and then Leon kills the monster. Him and Claire have a disagreement because, you know, she wants to expose this company and he just wants to keep fighting them. And so they go their separate ways, and that is it. Like, that is literally the story. It's the same exact thing from Degeneration. It's just a whole lot more boring. Like, if you are a Resident Evil fan, you will be bored out your mind because it's nothing but dialogue and all they do is talk. Like, that's all they literally do in this entire thing. The action doesn't even last that long. It lasts a minute and a half. In those 2 episodes, in those other 2 episodes, there's no action. This was the biggest disappointment ever. Like seriously, you will watch this, and as much as you hate the live action ones, you will like the live action ones a whole lot more because at least something happened in those. Now, I do like the realism in the animation, but it's a little too realistic. It was freaky realistic. Like, I wasn't expecting to be that realistic and stuff. Another thing that really bothered me is the voice acting. Now, in Degeneration, in the earlier video games, they had a really good cast. At some point halfway through the franchise, they left and got replaced by these new people. The new people sound just like them, but watered down. They don't have the enthusiasm, the zip, the pizzazz, the awesomeness, the historicness that the other voice cast had. They just like trying to do like a watered down imitation of them, and it's very disappointing. I wish they would have taken more care and thought with the plot. Like, I wish Claire and Leon could have interacted more. I wish I would have known which, like, where is it based off of, like, as opposed to which game and stuff, you know? And I wish there were more characters from, like, the video game so I can get more invested in this stuff. It's kind of like if you were to watch a cutaway scenes from, like, a video game on YouTube, but it's, like, a million times worse. And it's like, I just don't understand. It's the same people who make like the video games and the animated movies and stuff, and it's just like I don't understand why they couldn't deliver, and I don't understand why they basically took like the plot of Degeneration and just water it down. I don't understand that like at all. Like, there are too many similarities between the two, but they wrote it a million times worse. It's like they don't even care about their own product. They just try to rush something out really fast. I don't understand why it was broken up into 4 episodes as opposed to making it into like a movie and stuff. It's almost like they don't care about their own franchise anymore. And they're just trying to put something out because they know people are still like crazed over like zombies right now, and people need like new material. But it's just kind of like, who exactly was this made for? It couldn't be Resident Evil fans or zombie fans, because it was really nothing in it that made you want to think like Resident Evil or even zombies for the most part. It was basically like you just take another dramatic television show where there's only like 2 action scenes and then you just tossed in zombies for the fun of it and a monster. This is what you will get, like seriously. It's hard to get invested in these new characters because they're literally basically just watered down version of Degeneration characters. It's like the new female character who ends up dying because the monster dude decides to snap her in half. It's like there's nothing we really know about her other than her brother got infected and she's really upset and she's trying to bring this corporation down. Her brother, he was just a military soldier and he got infected. The dude who's turned himself into a monster, he's just friends with her brother and decides, oh, I'm going to expose the company and I'm going to turn myself into a monster. That's really going to show everybody. And it's just like, I don't get it, like even the characters in Degeneration, they wasn't really that fleshed out, but you still felt more for them because they showed more emotion than these people did. And that's one thing that's really pissing me off about the lackluster, or not last, but the animation. Even though it's realistic, there's really no expression on anybody's faces. They're just kind of blah, you know what I'm saying? And these new characters, like I didn't care what happened to them because you couldn't feel nothing from them. Alrighty, well I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.